Hello and welcome to this video in which I will be reviewing the UltraHuman M1 Glucose monitor. I'll go into details with what I think are the pros, the cons to buying this glucose monitor and obviously to using it. And I'm also going to try and elaborate a little how it works together with not just the UltraHuman RingAir, but also the entire ecosystem of other tracking devices. Spoiler alert, I am hugely surprised by this. I've been using the VeriStable and the Supersapiens for multiple years until I switched to the UltraHuman, and I decided to make this video because I do really think it has a ton of benefits, especially comparing it to the other brands out there. Now, if you're entirely new to my channel, my name is Viktor Hald Thorup. I am a professional speed skater, multiple times Olympian for Team Denmark. In addition to that, I have a bachelor's degree in health and nutrition, and I am very excited about things just like this. All those small marginal gains that can benefit elite athletes and at times also just the everyday user looking to improve their overall health, which I really think this one aims for that segment as well. Now, for a bit of insight, I have been using this one for an entire month now, meaning that I've used 2 of these patches or needles that you plug into the skin, and I have just trying to get as much out of the application as possible. Now, obviously, except when it's charging, the RingAir from UltraHuman is a thing that I've used for an entire year. You can see my other reviews in that one. Also a big fan of it. The one thing that really made me choose UltraHuman above, say, the Oura Ring or the Whoop device is the fact that it comes without a subscription, and I just really like the software. I asked them to give me a discount code I could share with all you guys. They said yes to that, so you can click on that link below in the description and you're gonna get 10% off whether it's the Ring or the glucose monitor that you're looking to buy. So I believe the first thing I should do here for you to decide whether the Ring and the glucose monitor is worth your money is to really elaborate on the 4 things that I think you can benefit. If those apply to you, well, obviously it should be a no-brainer and you should go ahead and order your UltraHuman. The first of these is the fact that you can just track your health and your recovery, and then for the first time ever, you can actually see how those correlate, the use of the glucose monitor and the Ring that tracks the overall recovery. This means things like you would know how different foods affect your sleep and then your recovery. I quickly learned that a lot of things were really good for me to eat before bedtime, whereas there was other things that I fast understood that I should try and avoid those. And this despite me being a dietitian and a professional athlete. So it's really a cool tool just to understand how different foods affect our performance, our sleep, our health, and our overall well-being. Now, the UltraHuman did a great job implementing this in their software because you can actually click on each meal or each workout. The cool thing about the workouts, I've said this in previous reviews, I always recommend using a Garmin or a Polar watch to track your workouts. Heart rate belts are just super precise and I still recommend that. The cool thing here is that they actually work together with the UltraHuman app so that in each, I'll show it here on the wall, in each of my workouts, it will automatically be added to that UltraHuman glucose graph in which I can actually click on it and then see how well did I do glucose blood sugar wise in this workout. How severe was my drop? Should I have refueled? And at what times I should have refueled? And at what time before that workout or that race event, whatever, should I have actually eaten or been drinking my isotonic drink or my energy bars. So that is just a very nice feature that actually turns the data into something you can grasp around and make use of as you plan for your next workouts or competitions. Now, the food log in the app is also super smooth. Obviously, this takes a little more effort from your side because you would have to log what you eat. They did make it really simple, and the food bank is very impressive in terms of how many specific ingredients and foods you can find in there. As you can see here, I'm just gonna share on the screen me basically tracking everything I eat during a day. I think it takes about 5 to 10 minutes over the course of the whole day to really plug everything in. Also, you can just do it as a plus minus calculation and still gonna give you an idea like how well do these foods actually do for me in specific workouts. Now, here's an example of me doing a dryland session where you can see a pretty bad drop in my glucose. Still got decent ratings from the app. However, later in the day, I did a longer, I think 17-kilometer jog, where you can see I fueled better and I also fueled right before the jog. Something light so it didn't have that massive spike, but still fueled me for the entire workout, which is super cool that the UltraHuman gives you feedback like that. It also brings in some overall statistics from other users saying like whole wheat bread generally gives people a good blood sugar. This is what I'm gonna recommend to you guys that are on a budget. don't use this 24/7 all year round. Use it at different times. Take 2 months where you use it to test different foods like a pre-race or a pre-workout meal and see how that spike actually corresponds to your performance and see how it drops afterwards, how that crashes in your glucose percentage or glucose levels after that workout or event. So test different foods out. I realized I would have to eat closer to my workouts than I actually thought in order to get the most out of that blood glucose spike. So one thing is the quality of the specific foods, the specific meals. Same thing goes for the timing of it. Like I just mentioned, the better you can time it in order to be the most efficient during a workout. It's even gonna give you these stats, as you can see, where it says this larger percentage of your workout or effort, you were in the high glucose range, whereas the mid, the low, and so on. So if you don't want to use this all year round, because it is, honestly, even though UltraHuman is the cheapest out there, it is still a pricey feature and a pricey thing to work with. However, it is worth it, especially if you want to test these different timing or quality of food strategies. With the glucose monitor, you can easily see and compare how different foods impact your sleep and when to eat it in the evening, which for me personally has had a pretty big impact, even though I felt like I did a good job already on my sleep quality and especially sleep efficiency. Now, I'm not going to be diving too far into how you actually apply the glucose monitor. It is the same for all these different brands that I tried, the VeriStable, the Supersapiens, and the UltraHuman. The one thing that I really see is different is actually just the patches you put on top. The hardware is more or less the exact same. The method of applying is identical. I am gonna let my wife Sophia here apply it. She looks better than me, so obviously it's nicer to look at. And she has also been using all these brands for quite some time. It is super simple, it is by no means painful, and this goes for all glucose monitors. One thing that I really enjoy about the UltraHuman, it was the same for the Ring. The box is super slick. It just tells you that it's quality. Inside this box, what you will find is, again, some cool simple instructions inside here, and then the applicator itself, the patches, and then for you to use it for a little longer, the alcohol wipes here that I definitely recommend you to remember to use. It does make a difference. I haven't had, during the 2 patches that I put on, any issue with this flying off or not being perfectly where it should be. I've been swimming with it, I've been training like crazy, so it should be fine with sweat, moisture, and whatsoever. Now, the one thing I always come back to when I'm talking about UltraHuman and why I find it to be the best on the market really applies to all users. Supersapiens is very, very elite sport based, whereas VeriStable is much more towards the overall health. The software is awesome. The scanning, very simple. You just use the back of your phone. It gives you 2 beeps and it is good. It has updated all that info from the patch here into your software, into your phone. Obviously, the one thing you should be aware of, glucose monitors, they are pricey. I do think they're worth it, but I also understand that if you're not living a full-time athlete life like me, a cool idea could be to do it in periods at the time. Like I mentioned in the beginning, just do 2 months at the time where you get X amount of patches and then you just try them out. The cool thing about this is that you can test your different meals, test different strategies. Obviously, it's gonna go up and down depending on, you know, sleep, weather, caffeine, whatnot. But if you do use these for a period of time, you are going to learn so much about yourself, your body, and how these nutrients impact you. So this is what I recommend if you're on a budget. If you do have the means to do it, of course, doing it 24/7, 365 years around is ideal. One little thing I really want to highlight, if you are in a sport where weight matters a lot, or if you're just looking to lose weight without losing too much energy and honestly sucking too much in your everyday life, this is a serious game changer. My wife and I have been using it now. We came back from the off season after our competition period, and well, we did have a few kilos too many that we got to get rid of. Been using this and basically ensured that we got the full, full potential out of each workout despite being in an overall daily calorie deficit. So this has just been huge in terms of that, getting the most out of the energy you put in. That was more or less it for my UltraHuman M1 Glucose monitor review. It's a cool tool. I do really think they found something special here in combining the software from the Ring, the health tracker, and then the glucose monitor. First time we see everything in one ecosystem, calculate our well-being and see how the glucose monitoring, the food intake, timing actually relates to each other. click on that link in the description below. You're gonna save 10%. It is worth it. I have been using this, been happy about it. I will be using it going into the next Olympics 2026. It was a pleasure having you guys here. Stay tuned for more reviews of these kinds, or also just stay tuned for my own skating career. I'll see you next time.